part of the process of getting better is forcing yourself to use your new skills. You know, forcing yourself to use your new skills. That was something that I took a lot of pride in when I really wanted to learn something, that I forced myself to do it. And I don't need to do it for 2 years before I can use it in a match. I really don't, okay? And my thing is too, if you're trying to get better and learn something, I'm a teacher too, and I'm really into learning and finding the fastest ways to learn stuff and the most efficient way to gain new information. And think of it like if you're gonna learn a foreign language, right? You're gonna learn Spanish, right? And you wanna go use the Spanish. If it takes you 30 years to learn Spanish, who cares? Like, that's terrible, right? You want to be able to learn it quickly so you can go use it, right? So same thing with your wrestling moves. Like, if it takes you 5 years to learn a stinking move or to get comfortable to use a move in competition, that's too long. You're doing something wrong. You're not taking enough risk. You're not forced in being intentional enough about wrestling a certain way. Does that make sense? I have to be very intentional about wrestling a certain way, and I have to do it in here, right? I feel like I did this as an athlete better than a lot of people, is I practice during practice. I really practice during practice. I practice my mechanics, I practice my moves, I practice my thinking, okay? And I set up scenarios in my mind during practice where I have to challenge myself and win. And so all those little things, from where my knees are to my breathing to refocusing, I do all that stuff during practice without being told. Right? I'm not waiting for some coach to stand over me to tell me to do that. Because how bad do you want it? I wanted it really bad. That's why I'm willing to do that myself. I don't need him. I don't need him. I don't need any of these guys. You give me a room and a plate, I'll make it the hardest thing in the world if I want to, right? So that's how you need to approach your wrestling and your practice. So I love to talk about anxiety because I dealt with, like, I call it crippling anxiety, right? I can remember being so scared, so anxious. You ever been sitting in class and you think about a duel that you have, maybe the duel you had last night, and you're sitting in math class or English class, you start thinking about this duel, and all of a sudden you get this burst of anxiety. It's like you have a panic attack, a little mini panic attack right there in class. There's no wrestlers there, there's no athletes around, there's no refs, there's no coaches, but you're freaking out because of the thoughts you're having. Anybody have that experience? Like, I used to have it all the time, and it made it just not very much fun. You know, it took a lot of the fun out of wrestling. I was constantly frustrated and disappointed in myself, and so when I went on this quest to become good, and it was really just a decision I made. I said, I'm tired of losing. I don't like the way this makes me feel. I don't want to feel like that. I want to be happy like those guys that are winning. And I made a decision to work and do all that stuff in the summertime. But the main thing for me was that I learned how to control my anxiety. So this is your anxiety model. So when you have anxiety, which is nervousness and worry, okay, it starts with the event. So you have the event in your mind, okay? And you go, hey, I got a match tonight. We have regionals next week. We have the state tournament, right? Whatever it is. And you start to appraise the event in your mind. You go, am I ready? Right? You start to think about your practices. You start to think about your season you've had and how confident you are. And you go, am I ready? Am I really ready? And whether this is subconscious or whether this is conscious, you're doing it. As soon as you know the dates on the calendar, you start to appraise it. Okay? You start to think about it. Okay? And it works like in your mind, you're thinking about it, but it also affects your body. Okay? So with every thought, so you have state. Okay, that's the event. And then you have your brain, okay? And then you're either thinking positive or negative thoughts about whether you're ready or not. Okay? But for your body, it affects your body. And there's this reciprocal relationship, okay, with your body. So when you say no, I don't feel good. That guy looks huge. He's really fast. I've watched that guy before. I'm really anxious. I know I haven't trained that hard. I'm scared to push myself. All these things. When you say no, it has an effect on your body. Okay? And this is what I call a reciprocal effect. I love that word, reciprocal. Reciprocal means it goes back and forth. One affects the other. So when your body, when you go, I'm not ready, and then all of a sudden your legs feel weak, and your stomach gets tied up in knots, and your hands are cold and clammy, and you can't keep your thoughts straight in your head, okay? And your confidence is just tanking, okay? And so when you feel that in your body, then you think of more reasons why you shouldn't do well, okay? Because your brain, not my best artistry today, kids. Okay, your brain is like a super magnet. A super magnet. It's like the most powerful magnet in the world. If you think of a negative thought, especially as it pertains to yourself, your brain will think of more negative thoughts. It will convince you that you are correct. You're right. Okay? You're not that good. You shouldn't win. You don't deserve it. All these things. Okay? Have you ever had, like, you got up in the morning and you stubbed your toe out of bed, and then you were late to school and you didn't get any breakfast, and you get to school and this girl you really like, your homeboy's talking to this girl right in the hallway, he knows you like her, and then you go to the next class and something just bad. You get to practice and coach gets on your case and you have a bad practice, you get home, you get in a fight with your dad, right? And it's just down. Have you ever had a day like that? Yeah? Right? That's this avalanche thinking of your brain. Convincing you you're right. This magnet thing, and you're drawing in more negative thoughts, more negative experiences. So it's your job to turn these into positives. And it works in the exact opposite way. Your brain will think of more reasons why you should win. Okay, you'll be more positive. You ever think about, like, I hate this teacher. God, I hate this teacher. You'll think of a million reasons why you hate this teacher. Right? You think, and then you get your friends involved. Man, we hate this guy. Right? It works exact opposite as well. If you like some girl, you're gonna think of more reasons why. You're gonna figure out a reason to like this girl. Okay? And same thing with your wrestling. So the deal is, how do you cope? Now that you know this exists for you, and this is the same for everybody. It's not just you, it's me, it's him, it's her, it's everybody. Okay? And so this is information. The fact that you know this, really you now should be held to a higher standard of performance, because you understand I have to do some coping to deal with this anxiety and these negative thoughts, and I have to turn them into positive thoughts. Okay? So what does the word cope mean? Children, you're failing my vocabulary test, I tell you that right now. Cope, what does it mean? That's not a hard word.
Like how to deal with something.
How to deal with it. Anxiety is going to come. You're not going to get away from it. It's going to be there. You can count on it. Okay? How are you going to deal with it? And so having a plan to deal with the anxiety when it comes, right? If you go out there without a plan, it's like, I think it's so ridiculous. But I also didn't know this stuff before too. I went out there without a plan too, right? How many of you just go out and wrestle and you're not thinking about what tie or what stance or what shot? You just go wrestle. How many of you do that? That's so ridiculous. I did it too, because nobody told me. You can't do that. You're not going to win like that. They just say, hey, Creighton, get tougher. I'm like, Dad, I'm not that tough. I don't know what to tell you. Coach, I'm not that tough. I'm trying. I want to make you happy. I'm not that tough. Okay? I had to make myself tough. I had to develop a game plan. And this is what coping is about. So the first coping strategy, okay, the number one coping strategy is your breathing. Your breathing. When you get that burst of anxiety in class and you're thinking about the match you have tonight or this weekend or next week, I want you to practice. You just do it with me now. From your belly, a big, slow, cleansing breath. And you blow it all the way out. And you feel your shoulders relax as you blow out. And you breathe in relaxation. You breathe out tension. Now you're thinking about what? What are you thinking about? You're thinking about your breathing. You're not thinking about being scared. You're not thinking about worry. You're not thinking about fear thoughts. You're thinking about breathing. And when your breathing gets in control, then you get in control of your body, right? What makes you, what really exacerbates anxiety is when your heart rate gets jacked up, right?
And even when you're wrestling hard out here and you get in a scramble and your heart rate starts to go through the roof, you're ready to stop. This is a scary feeling when your heart starts beating out of control, right? Yes, you guys know what I'm talking about? So you must master lowering your heart rate. Your breathing is connected to your heart rate. It's physiological. That means it's like gravity. It's going to happen. You have no control over it. Your breathing slows, your heart rate slows. Every time. Whether you want it to or not. Every time. Does this make sense? So when I go and I get back in control of my heart rate, or control my breathing, then I get back in control of my heart rate, and now I get back in control of my body. And now I'm not as scared. I'm not as I don't have as much anxiety, and I have more energy. I'm calmer. I'm not going to gas out because I have control of my heart rate. This makes sense. I play a game when I go to the doctor every time when they do the blood pressure thing, and I go, I'm doing my Zen thing, and I lower my heart rate, and they go, man, you're in amazing shape. And I just laugh, and I go, yeah, I know how to control my heart rate. So I slow my heart rate down, okay? I got really good at this. I could go out of bounds, and by the time I got back to the center, my heart rate would be almost back to normal. I could be come on. I never ran back to the center because I'm thinking about my next setup. I'm getting my body, when I step on the line, I'm ready to wrestle. I don't sprint back and get taken down, or sprint back and be tired. Okay, I think it looks good. I think I do. I think it looks good to sprint back. I don't need to do that. Okay, I'm trying to win this match. I'm not trying to do some race back to the center of the mat. Does that make sense? So that time from out of bounds to the center is your time to focus. Focus means forget. Forget who's watching you. Forget who's watching you. You're not Kel Sanderson. Nobody's worried about you being undefeated. Okay? Quit, don't worry about who's watching. Okay? You got to forget everything around you. You have to get organized. This is what I talk about with your stance. I'm just so anal about this organization part of it and your mechanics. Okay, when I'm teaching wrestlers. Even if you're good and you're winning matches, if your mechanics are garbage, I still don't think you're that good. I just don't. That's just my opinion. I want to see beautiful wrestling. That's what I want to see. As a wrestling fan, I want it to look beautiful. I don't want it to look all choppy and sloppy and you get your hand raised and, ugh. They don't want to see that either. ESPN don't want to see. They want to see beautiful wrestling on ESPN, right? When you watch the NCAAs, you want to see beautiful wrestling, yes? All right. So be that. Get organized. C is for concentrate. Think about what you're doing. Concentrate. You got to let go of the anger. You got to let go of the frustration. You need to focus on your body and the position. The task is all that matters. Anything else is leaking energy. You guys are video game kids. Everybody in here plays video games? Yes? You get like points. Let's say you got 100 life points or 100 health points. If you get mad, there's 3 points you just wasted. 4 more points over there you just wasted on being mad. That's silly. Silly. If you don't have any energy and you need the anger to give you energy, right? That's one thing. If I think about 4 quadrants of energy, okay? This is high positive energy. This is high negative energy. Low, negative, low, positive. This is where you want to be, but I'll take this over anything low. Does that make sense? So you got to concentrate. That's one of the keys to success. If you want to be good at school, if you can't go into math class and think about the stinking problem you're on until it's over, how you gonna win? How you gonna have a good score? You got to think about. Did you say cheat? Is that what you said? No, that's a Palo Alto thing. It's a Palo Alto thing. So you need to think about what you're doing. You need to think about what you're doing when you're doing it. That's a huge key. So many people can't do that well. If you can just think about what you're doing while you're doing it and concentrate, you're going to do so much better. So you have to keep your brain on the task when you're wrestling. And you have to be able to do that. You're practicing during practice. So if I can extend that time from 6 minutes to 2.5 hours of practice, and I'm focused the whole time of practice, it's gonna be relatively easy to wrestle 1 6-minute match at a time. Right? Okay. U is for unwind. Unwind, unwind. Okay? It means relax. Like you get concentrated, you get organized, you forget what's going around you, and then you relax. You get relaxed so you can actually do the last one, which is the step. Okay, which is go. Do the move. Execute. Okay? Focus. Focus. Okay? That's a great acronym to help you. So when you hear focus, you should think this. This is what you think about when you hear the word focus. Okay? Back to the coping strategies, and I'll move a little faster. So the number one is breathing. Okay? To get back in control of your heart rate. Okay? That just helps you get back in control of your body to do the things that you know. None of this is going to make your technique better. I want to say that. None of this is going to put you in better shape. All this does is give you the most with what you got. So when you step out of there, you can get the best out of what you got. That's what mental toughness does. That's what sports psychology does. It doesn't make you stronger. It makes you perform better. Okay? So you still got to have great technique. You still got to do the conditioning piece of it. But this is something you can do, and it can make all that better. Okay? This is the key of all keys. Number two is to visualize. Visualization, imagery. If you can't see yourself performing well in your mind's eye, the chances of you doing that in reality are very slim. Right? If I can't see myself living in a big, beautiful house one day, then the chances of me doing that are very slim. If I can't see myself having $1 million in the bank, the chances of me doing that are very slim. I would say zero. Chances are zero. Okay? So you have to cultivate how you want to look on the wrestling mat. I love film study. I love to watch wrestling. I watch wrestling for fun, for enjoyment, for entertainment. I also watch it for study and to improve and to learn, right? And I've been like that for, a long time. I started when I was in high school studying film, studying technique tapes, I watched thousands of hours of technique. But what that did for me, and not many of my teammates had I call it the appetite for watching film. You gotta have an appetite for it, right? If I gotta force you to watch film, you really don't have an appetite for it, but you also don't understand how important it is. Because I have so many images in my brain of wrestling that I can just sort of pick and choose, and then I can sort of embody that. Right? The fact that I have so many images in my brain, I can easily go through this Rolodex of wrestling in my mind and pick something and do it. Or be creative and figure this guy out. Because I saw it in this match in 1999, and this guy did this thing and he won, and I can go do that too. Right? I truly believe that anything a coach teaches, I can do it. I've never seen a coach teach a move and I go, I don't know if I can do that. But I got a lot of confidence in myself in that way. If you can do it, I can do it. I'm obviously better than you, right? Physically. So if you can do it, that means I can do it. And you should have that belief about yourself. We all have 2 arms, 2 legs. If I showed you, that means you can do it. I wouldn't show you if you couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to set you up for failure as a coach. If I showed it to you, I know you can do it. It's your choice to do it. It's my job to get the information in your head, though. Right? So you're thinking the right way, and you're moving the right way, and then you got to go do it. Okay? But visualizing, seeing yourself, spending time, closing your eyes, watching yourself wrestle in your mind, and I did 2 types of visualization. So I would visualize where I could see my hands, I could feel the mat underneath my feet, I could see my opponent in front of me, and I would do it where I would watch myself on film, outside my body. And that's internal and external visualization, 2 different ones. Both excellent. I do both. Much as I can, okay? And then number 3, okay, you have thought stopping, okay? And I'm kind of leave you guys with that. So thought stopping is like something they do with clinically depressed people where they can't get out of their own head. Like they start to get in a downward spiral like the avalanche thinking we talked about, and they just can't get out of it. And that's what depression is. They're just down, negative, can't get out of this hole, right? So something they do is they do thought stopping with these people, and they try to get you to do a pattern interrupt, like some sort of clap or stomp or hit that breaks the pattern of your thinking. And then when you have that break in your pattern of thinking, then you jump in and you replace it with the positive, right? So I would have, when I was wrestling and I learned about this strategy, I got a big thick newspaper rubber band, you know, the Sunday paper rubber bands. I take it and I wrote on it in ink, I wrote national champion on it, okay? And I would wear it on my wrist and I'd walk around with it, and if I was driving in my car, I had a negative thought about my wrestling, I'd snap it. And I'd go like, bad Brahmin, like bad coach, bad athlete, and I would replace it. I'm the baddest, and I pump myself up and give myself a positive reinforcement, okay? Which I almost forgot one of the most important ones, which is self-talk. So that's where I give myself that positive self-talk. Your internal dialogue with yourself all day long, from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, you're talking to yourself, and you need to be kind to yourself. Nobody will beat you up more than you will beat yourself up. That's a fact. That's a fact. Okay? You think someone else is mean to you, you're way meaner to yourself than anybody could possibly be to you. Okay? And you know that to be true. We all know that to be true. So your self-talk, you've got to stop that, you've got to change that, you've got to make it positive and constructive. And I'm getting better. You're coaching yourself. Okay? But back to the thought stopping. So I would stop it, and it would do a pattern interrupt, and I would replace it immediately with positive self-talk. Okay? And this is very easy to do. Okay? So let's do just a little visualization practice right now. All of you close your eyes. Okay? Really quickly. Okay? So we're going to do visualization and thought stopping right here. And you see how easy it is. So I want you to visualize a pink elephant in this room with us. Okay? It's a female pink elephant. And she's got lavender skin. Okay? And she's got pink toenails and big ivory tusks. Okay? Actually, I was told that females don't have ivory tusks. So no tusks, no tucks. But she's got a bow around her neck. And it's lavender. Okay? And you see her walking between you guys on the mat. She's walking around ever so gently. Stop! Did your mind go blank for a second? Okay, that's a thought stopping right there. I had you visualize deeply, and then you stopped it. Could you see the elephant? Yes? Yes. So you're all very good at it already. Okay, you just have to put that in context for your wrestling, right? And get excited about your wrestling. This is the last thing I'll share with you too. I spent a lot of time too as I got closer to winning and saw that it was capable for me to do it, right? You need some proof. I got to beat somebody that's pretty good to show me that it's possible for me to win, you know? The California State Tournament, they do the rankings down to the number. It's almost like, it's crazy. They seed the top 16 kids out of a 44-man bracket. It's almost exactly like the seed. So what that tells me is if you're not seeded, your chances of winning are pretty slim. You know, you got to go into that tournament with the seed. Okay? But what I want you to do is get excited about the feelings of winning. Get excited about how it's going to feel when you win. As I got closer, I would just get so giddy about how happy I was going to be after I won. And I could literally feel it. And I would daydream about the feelings of how it was going to feel when I won. And that's a good thing to do, because I could literally taste it, I could feel it, and I became the national champion before I ever won the tournament. You know, I had to become that guy in my everyday life, in my thinking, in the way I carried myself, and then it happened. And then it happened. But it's so much preparation, I can't even explain it to you. Okay? But it's a daily thing, and nobody wins on accident, guys. You're not going to accidentally win a state title. You're not going to accidentally win a league title or a section title or a district title or whatever it is. It's not going to happen on accident. It's going to be very intentional. And when you do it, it's going to feel awesome, because when you go through that process and you put yourself on the line every day and you try as hard as you can for something that's a lofty goal and you get it, it does so much for your self-efficacy and your confidence that I can't tell you about it. You know, you just have to experience it for yourself. So, any questions? No questions. Coaches, any questions?
No, I would say, and most of you guys have known this, and I've said this. I had a sports psychologist that I got when I